Welcome to another episode of the Yannis Pappas Hour. We are a show that likes to confuse the algorithm. We are a coordinated effort against ALGO, not ICE, but ALGO. I am a coordinated resistance fighter against the algorithm, meaning I employ inconsistency to confuse it and to lower my own numbers, to protest myself. This show can come at you whenever it wants. And what I mean by that is whenever I got 3 ads to fulfill. So let's do an episode. But I went back and listened to the previous few episodes, and I'd like to say that I feel like they're on such big issues that don't worry. I think those issues are going to be around for a little while. Take the last couple, for example. Iran. I did 2 episodes on that. That ain't going nowhere. Okay? If you think Iran, we're just going to let Iran stay the way that it is, that ain't happening. And immigration, this has been a problem for a long time. That's what we're going to talk about today. Not just a problem, but also a benefit to the country because we are a nation of immigrants. We're stronger together. We're stronger together, Hillary. That was her slogan. It wasn't as good as Make America Great Again. A lot of people, I saw one interview where one guy said to Trump, don't you think it's a little too verbose, a little too wordy? He said, I think it's perfect. Make America Great Again. If I ran, that would be my slogan. Much like the Joe Rogan podcast, where people told him, who's going to sit there and listen to you for 4 hours? And they advised him it was too long. They were wrong. Just like the interviewer told Trump that it was too long of a slogan. He was wrong. Sometimes the progenitor of something, the pioneer of something, a movement or a podcast, a new medium, does the opposite of the trend, bucks the trend and becomes the new trend. So Trump may be the new trend, just like Joe Rogan created a whole bunch of other Joe Rogans who want to sit down and talk to journalists and politicians as well. I mean, let's be honest. There'd be no Lex Friedman. There'd be no of these other podcasts if there was no Joe Rogan. They're all doing and encouraged by Rogan to go. He basically went, go do my show. I'm just kidding. Don't worry about it. Nobody cares about the sign. We got a smaller one there. But if I had an illegal immigrant here where I was paying something I could afford that padded my bottom line, I would have him pick it up. I'd have him pick it up and wash my clothes. Who's going to clean your toilet, Donald Trump? No, I mean, not like that. I didn't mean it like that, I don't want to make fun because she lost her father, but it was still one of my favorite moments because, it's just, I love that moment where you think you're saying one thing, but then the people who you're trying to get you to rah-rah turn on you. Because, and here's my point. Because if you got rid of all the immigrants, who's going to clean your toilet, Donald Trump? Big issue. So what I'm saying is all these last couple of episodes we've done are kind of timeless. And what I mean by timeless, I think they'll be around for a while. I don't see these issues subsiding. I don't see them going into remission. And I can only remember the last one. I don't remember what the one before that was, and neither do you, because we don't have memory anymore because our brains are fried. So nobody has memory anymore. Nobody has an integrated personality anymore, right? Before social media, people had an integrated personality. Now everyone's looking for a dopamine fix. By definition, people who do that are, as Jung would say, not integrated. So what happens supposedly when you're not integrated is you're all over the place. You have many different personas and your memory starts to go away as a consequence of your psyche being fractured into many different personas and thrill-seeking behavior. So I don't remember 2 episodes ago, just like I won't remember these 2 poor souls who lost their lives in Minneapolis. Once, I think it'll be Taylor Swift does something big or something happens. They go to Blue Sky in Montana and find an actual child sex slavery ring. that aristocrats are drinking drink wrong. Something will push this out of the news. That's the fun. What will it be? What will it be? What unexpected celebrity will be dead? Now, this is the part, if it does happen, they'll go, whoa, Yannis was prophetic. So let me just do the general medium thing here and trick you, right? It depends on what celebrity ends up unexpectedly dying, what kind of horrific murder happens anywhere from coast to coast, what Donald Trump says about Rosie O'Donnell. I'll just give you a long list so that maybe you could say I'm prophetic of things that I'm pretty sure will happen. Kevin Hart gets caught cheating again. I mean, publicly. I don't know what happened. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's still together or not. I don't know. It's unfair. We shouldn't be looking at people's personal lives. And is Kanye West not the best example of why you shouldn't take anything seriously that a musician or comedian or quote unquote content creator says outside of their art? Isn't that the best example? We finally have an example, right? Like a common law example. That's legally they would say this is common law. There's a precedent for it based on Roe v. Wade or whatever, right? That's how common law works. Now we have a sociological, axiomatic, I don't know if that's the way you conjugate that, but go for it, common law type communal wisdom about, hey, remember Kanye West? That's a big example. That is a loud example of why outside of his art, you don't take what he says seriously. Because how do you not like his songs? God damn it, even the HH one, you're going like, shit. The problem with that is when you hear it, and then you stop hearing it, it's in your head. You know how songs get in there and you're around your kids going, hey, because he just is good at that. His songs are very good. But outside of his songs, you know, that's why. He's a perfect example. I'll repeat it, for why you don't take comedians, musicians, or actors seriously outside of their art. You know? Just because you're good at comedy doesn't mean you know what you're talking about. Okay? But I feel confident saying that because I actually do that. This I'm doing to get money from Lucy. And because everyone's doing it. I do enjoy it. I try to make it funny. You know, and I have a very fractured personality. Stand-up is, people come see stand-up if you're a fan of this, which I've had a few, I know you're going like, what was that? You know? Then you go on the hyenas and I'm like, what's up, cuz? You know? And then you go on my ex account and it's like, Iran with Persian culture was something, you know? I'm a three-dimensional human, but that is something people cannot grok anymore. It's a word, grok. Understand, that's what it means. Because everyone views everyone as a one-dimensional caricature, discerned from their, you know, what they express on a social media platform that limits them to 140 characters or a video or photos. You know, I'm not going to post photos on my Instagram of me pacing and overthinking something. And neither is anyone else. I'm not going to make a video when me and my wife are arguing about garbage or who's going to shovel the snow, right? So we've all become these little TV shows, right? I used to love Growing Pains. I had no idea Kirk Cameron was a born-again Christian. I'm sure a lot of people didn't. I'm not saying it would bother me one way or the other, but it would definitely change. Back then, you didn't know everything about the actors, so you didn't go, oh, there's Kirk Cameron. It was his character. And imagine, you know, imagine you just had to hear everything Kirk Cameron had to say. It would kind of ruin Growing Pains. Imagine if Fred Savage was just out there fucking every day haranguing us on Israel and Palestine. You'd be like, what? And that's where we are now. So you start to know him more from that. And that's just a segment of your personality. I bet you if you meet a lot of people on X in person, you'd be like, I really like this guy. And then because he's not what he's just tweeting. It's not his full personality. You know? It's like only knowing me from playing chess and thinking I'm some autistic kid who just plays chess. It's just one of the things I do. X is different from Instagram. Instagram's different from podcasting. Podcast is different from stand-up comedy. My private life is different from that. Me as a father is different from that. It's like someone seeing me as a father with my kids going like, you know, singing the Demon Hunter song and running around and chasing them and going like, wait a second. What the hell I thought you're the big topic guy from YP Hour. How come you didn't say cuz? How come you didn't call your kids cuz? How come you didn't tell your daughter you wanted to crack open and clean out someone? But people's brains have been organized along those lines where nobody sees anyone as three-dimensional anymore. We're all broadcasting. So I didn't know anything about Walter Cronkite's need to probably put on panties and put a sucker in his mouth and stick something in his own ass in his private time. But if he had a podcast and he was trying to get views, he probably would let me know about it. And then that would make me view him different. You know, it's just, we're all Walter Cronkite now. And depending on how many mediums you have, the more people know about you. Podcasting is one where they know too much about you. I mean, I can't imagine what Chris Stefano goes through when fans come up and goes, how's the names of your kids? And what's going on with your oil bill? That's his real life, you know, but that's everyone now. So he's not an exception. That's everyone now. Because even Madonna's in the fucking bathtub, like, you know, with her old face. So it's a weird time. And, you know, when you go on X, you're going on X to yell abolish ICE or to talk about how cops have the right to murder whoever they want. And that's just what X is about. And I think people often forget that. They take it way too seriously. If you sat down with one of those people and had a long-form conversation, it would be different. You'd make points, they'd make points, and at the end, you'd probably come to a lot of agreement. You ever notice that when you disagree with somebody, you sit down and you go, well, I actually believe that point, I actually believe that point, most of the time. Unless you're sitting down with certain people I know who might be in my family who are just hard line. But for the most part, even, you know, if I have a disagreement with somebody and you make some points and they, yeah, and like everyone's human. But if you go on X, that's what X is for. That's what the algorithm has conditioned you to say. And that is what you do when your whole personality isn't involved in reality. You're basically in a car alone. That's how safe you feel. So you just let it fly. Like I said, we have to amend Freud. Not only is it now the ego, super ego, and the id, it's the ego, the super ego, the id, and the social media persona. There's 4 now. He could have never predicted that. But nobody could have predicted a lot of this stuff. So this is the controversy du jour. I don't even remember what's happening in Iran. Venezuela. Did that happen 10 years ago? Did they use a new sonic type of weapon called the discombobulator? I bet you that's not the official name now. I bet you Trump just goes, let's go with the discombobulator. Because it sounds a little better than the V6, Ray, Don, Chicaton. He was just like, oh, you mean the discombobulator? China, I don't know what's going on there. How about Israel and Palestine? Is it over? Because now it's ICE. And as soon as ICE stepped ground into Minnesota, you knew it was going to get hot. When they go to Oregon, you know it's going to get hot. When they go to Washington, you know it's going to get hot. It's going to get hot. It's going to get hot in here. And Minnesota, it's all happening in Minnesota. Minnesota has become the Israel-Palestine of America. It's a powder keg over there. You know? We had George Floyd there. Then we had a Somali Medicaid fraud. Then now we have ICE, 2 ICE shootings. Another one happened in Governor Walz's Minnesota. Minnesota. So what is ICE? You know? By the way, big snowstorm in New York this week. When you drive, you have to be careful of black ice. And if you're in Minnesota and you're very left wing, you want to be careful of white ice. It's a different type of ice. That's what I should have put in there to protect it a little bit. Maybe I'll just take it down and redo it. But what is ice, man? What is ice? Okay, ice grew out of like much things, Homeland Security. After 9/11, we're like, whoa. We gotta make sure no terrorists are coming in. You know, the government always grows for defense. Small government people, small government advocates, small government conservatives only mean small government for benefits, for public education, and roads or whatever else. Drinking water, EPA, all that shit. That's what they mean by small government. Because what they're actually for is massive government when it comes to defense. Am I wrong about that? Am I wrong? When the voting comes in, small government Republicans go 16 trillion to Raycon? You get a fucking contract. You get a contract. You get a contract. You get a contract. You get a contract. We are going to spend like crazy on defense. So that's what you call the military-industrial complex. That's what Eisenhower warned against. So we have to wonder, like, did we ever do anything about that? I don't know. I don't think so. So it grew out of that, right? It grew out of the new DHS. After 9/11, you're like, whoa. And, you know, left wing's freaking out. Oh, my God, they're surveillancing everything, which they were. They were figuring out ways to, but they were just ahead of their time because the technology caught up and they were going to do that anyway. If they're not going to watch you, somebody who works at a Ring camera is going to jerk off to you in your bedroom. Or somebody who has an Airbnb is going to jerk off to you with a hidden camera in some sort of vent. The technology caught up. Surveillance is everywhere. You can't make an arrest without surveillance. There's body cam footage, there's street cameras. I mean, who wouldn't have an Airbnb and hide a camera? Right? Who would? Hotels, they don't give a shit as much. But if it's your home, who wouldn't hide a camera? If I had an Airbnb, I'm fucking putting a camera in there. Is that against the law? I'm not sure. I think it is. So that's the only sticky situation. But anyway, that's how ICE was born. And they were saying, hey, we got to make sure no terrorists come across the border. We got to know who's coming into our country. And this was also around the time where we were starting to come to grips with the fact that we had a whole generation of people who didn't want to work anymore. They didn't want to work. Let's be honest. The slacker generation, what were they called? Our generation. They were called the slacker generation for a reason, right? The Brat Pack. They were a little older than us, I think. But Gen X, slackers, what are they doing? Oh, they're sitting around dreaming. What are you going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. We're Gen X. I was one of them. I don't know. Maybe I'll be a Secret Service agent. Oh, comedy. That's not a lot of work. I'll do that. Look at Dizzle. He sculpts all day. Nobody wants to work. You know? You have to accept that is a big part of this story. Okay? We don't want to admit that, but it's a big part of the story. Because if Americans really, really wanted to work, I think what immigration has proved is that there's a lot of fucking jobs, right? There's a lot of roofers you need. There's a lot of snow shovelers. There's a lot of landscapers. There's a lot of coffee people at Starbucks. There's a lot of people at the gas stations. There's a lot of motels that need ownership. There's a lot of people, but we don't want it. Once you go to college, which was everyone's dream, and you sit there and you drink a little bit, you smoke a little weed, you do a little exploring of your soul, you don't want to go pick strawberries. Whereas, here's the thing, and this is how you know I'm right, Jesse, whereas our grandparents did. So that is a shift. That is just a shift in mentality, whether you have NAFTA or not. Okay? Because everything is very messy. Yes, NAFTA and China and all that shit took the jobs away, and that's mostly what's responsible for what's happened, without a doubt. And I mean, essentially, that's borderless, right? You're like, oh, we're a nation state, but all our companies aren't here. What? And a lot of these people who go, we got to get these immigrants out, are just like those immigrants, not the ones that work at my company, right? Or the ones overseas who aren't here, but essentially work at an American company. The American worker's not going to benefit from this, but I am. My pocket is. So that also was a form of this, are we a nation state? I'm sure Bernie would agree. I'm sure now Trump, after he made his billions and used tons of fucking undocumented labor, would agree. It's a very cynical game at the top. There's a lot of hypocrisy, a lot of self-interest, because that's just the human animal, man. What are we? What are we, fucking Jesus? You telling me Trump didn't have any illegal workers working on his constructions? Come on, dude. How many people do you know that want to do that job? That's what you're going to have when you have a lot of people going to college and getting BAs. Because what you essentially did was you're like, it became the dream to go to college. Like, oh, it's my first son to graduate college. Like, what did he study? History. My first son to go to college. What did he study? English, sociology, communications, business. What? Just start a fucking business, right? So when they get out, what do you think? They want to start at the bottom and then... No. That takes a very specific type of personality who was ignored by his kids and has a traumatic background, who's trying to fill a hole. That's all we have left. All our highest achievers now are severely demented individuals. It's not cultural. Work ethic is not cultural anymore. What is cultural now was first like, let me relax and find myself, right? So that was our generation. Gen Z was, let me relax and find myself. Get off my back, Mom. We were the first generation to go, hey, I'm going to stay here until my dream works out, okay? And then came the millennials who were like, give us the money. You said faggot, right? So they were a little more hardcore and gangster about it, right? After Gen Z decided they couldn't continue to live in their parents' house when they were 40. Gen X. Sorry. Gen X was like, okay, I'm 30 now, 35, I got to do something. So they went and they got a job, and they had kids or whatever. And then millennials were just a big generation. They were like, there's too many of us, not enough slots. All the jobs are overseas. We wouldn't want to do them anyway. So that's not even a problem because we're all college educated. So give me the money, you said faggot. And then came Gen Z. And they said, okay, we've found ourselves. Now we want to heal. We want to heal from our trauma. We want to heal. We don't want to drink. We want to be with ourselves and our best friends. I'm having lunch with my best friend, my phone. Today was a pleasant lunch with my best friend, my phone. Okay? Because if you fell out the window right now, I'd go, oh shit. Okay? But if my phone fell out the window, I'd be like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? All my contacts are in there. But if you fell out the thing, I'd be like, oh, I got other friends and I can get another producer. I'm a little stained by the Gen Z mentality. They're full blown that. They're full blown like, thank God my phone is saved. Guys, you know me. I am someone who really enjoys nicotine. I'm addicted to it, and I like it. And Lucy is the way that I go. I love Lucy. I love their espresso flavor. I love their apple cider flavor. I love the breakers. You know, they give you break it with your teeth. You get a little extra burst of flavor in your mouth. And I'll be honest, for someone who always needs to know where they are, I love just subscribing and having it come to my house. So I don't got to run to any stores. I always have a backlog of tins ready to go. So I go to the website, I find stores, I buy them, whatever you need to do to stock up right now, you do it. So, guys, Lucy's the only pouch that gives you long-lasting flavor wherever you need it. Get 20% off your first order when you buy online with the code Yannis. And if you don't want to wait, just head to lucy.co/stores to find Lucy near you and grab it today. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Yo, guys, you know it's about hymns. I don't want to pry, but listen, okay? If you got ED, which is erectile dysfunction, and you want to get hard, stay hard, hymns is for you. They got solutions for you, my friend. Even if you don't, and you just want an extra rock hard piece, then you got to go with Hims. Hims offers access to ED treatments ranging from personalized products to trusted generics that cost 95% less than brand names if prescribed. That's big. That's a lot less. 100% online access, personalized treatments. So nice and private, very cool. It's not a one-size-fits-all that keeps you in the waiting room and all that. It's quick, it's efficient, it's very great. They bring expert care straight to you with 100% online access for personalized treatments that put your goals first. Just think of it as your digital front door that gets you back to your old self with simply 100% online access. Trusted treatments for ED and more. All in one place. So to get simple online access, personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, or more, visit hims.com/Yannis. That's hims.com/Yannis for your free online visit. hims.com/Yannis. Featured products include compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information. Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. So it's not just these mechanisms of historical import. It's not just policy that has caused. Culture is big as well. And the culture is based on one thing: comfort level, baby. Comfort level. Because yes, the jobs went overseas and the Rust Belt got fucked, but a lot of them got jobs at Wawa's and Sheetz. The ones who could handle it, until the Indian came, like our grandparents, and did a double shift. And that guy started drinking Bud Lights because he was watching football and he got programmed to love Bud Lights, and his liver gave out and he died. And then there was a gap, and his son was going to college and played football, and the Indian was working 29 hours in a 24-hour day. So they took over the hotels, they took over the 7-Elevens, they took over the franchise Subways because nobody wanted to do it. Because if people really wanted to do it, they would outcompete them. They'd go for it, right? But they're comfortable. It's hard to want to go franchise a Subway when you're watching TV and you want to be just like Ja Rule, or you want to be just like, it's a little bit funner of a life and there's less work. Let's just be honest. Some things are less work. What I do can be a little mentally taxing, but in a playful way, taxing for an hour or two. But this isn't the hardest job, right? If someone said, hey, your career's over, but you're going to have to do snow shovel removal company now. I would go into a mental institution. I wouldn't see it like an immigrant would see it, who would be like, that's fucking great. You're offering me a job and my own business on top of that to be the boss. I'm the happiest fucking Slovenian guy you've ever met. But if you told me, an American-born person, that, I would go into a mental institution and I would have to have lithium pumped into my veins straight in order to be able to deal with it. So that's what's part of this story, right? Now, here's the sticky situation. Is people who are rich love illegal labor because they don't really see it. They don't live in those neighborhoods where they come in and start competing for jobs at the working class level, right? So they like it because they get their garden done, they get their whatever done, in cash. You're going to get a better price if you're texting someone using Google Translate than you are somebody who had to go get a permit. And it's just, you should do it the permit way. But, sometimes that that the person does really good work and you just want an illegal basement for half the price because you're just sure you're never going to have a fire down there. How often does a fire happen in an illegal basement? Not 15 grand worth of times. You take your chances. You go, oh, but you're supposed to have an egress and a full window and 2 exits. And you're going like, you know what? If there's a fire in the basement, I'll run out of the building. Or I'd rather spend that 15 grand on something else because I don't have it. Or I'd rather just spend it on something else. And if my house burns down, good. I have insurance. I'll get a new one. I don't need to do your fucking fire code. So, Juan, what's your name? Okay, no questions, Mr. Purple. Here's cash. Do my basement. Put up the fucking drywall, baby. Give me recessed lighting. Oh, you were an electrician / contractor / doctor / engineer / relief pitcher for the Cuban. So you know how to do my electrical too. I'll take my chances with that as well. The house burns down, it burns down. Hopefully I'm not home, but my wife is. That's what people say. And they save. So they like it too. What they don't like is when they hear, Jesse Walters or Tucker Carlson or I don't know, first names off the top of my head going, then they go, yeah, fucking yeah. Or they see a news article of some illegal gang member who killed or sexually assaulted a woman, then they go, get them all the fuck out. But first, let me get my fucking garden done. And then you can kick them out. So it's just who we are. We're all complicated. Self-interested. We're a mixture of self-interest first, and then, convenience, and then on top of that, morality. Morality does not come first for anybody. No matter what we'd like to believe, it doesn't come first for any of us. That's why it's funny to watch people go like, yeah, I'm right and you're wrong. It's like, you're a piece of shit and you're a piece of shit. I just don't know enough about you. And you know that. Because if you knew that I knew, you wouldn't be so confident. So that's one of the reasons. Is the right likes it, and then the left, why does the left like it? Okay, you can't, it's against the law to vote for someone in Congress or the president at a federal level. You can't vote if you're undocumented. Well, you go, well, they're just going and, fucking voting anyway. That is also probably not happening on the scale that you think, because you have to be registered to vote, right? And if you're not registered to vote, you can't just walk in there and vote. But you're saying, oh, I could just take someone's name and address and go in. But then you would have to know that that person didn't show up to vote. And if they're registered to vote, that means they're going to intend to vote. So then if there's 2 votes, you're going to go, whoa, 2 people voted. But then you're going, what if the people who work at the voting polls are in on it? then you're going, okay, then they're in on it, and then we're into this big conspiracy. So has that happened? Undoubtedly, I'm sure it has happened, but on the scale that you think it's happened, almost definitely not. Enough to sway anything? Probably not. That seems like it's more of a talking point, a convenient one for someone who's got a big ego, who does not like losing. I had a mother like that. Boy, there was a lot of people against her. Everyone was against her, but it's never her, never 1 ounce of humility. So that's unlikely. Now, they can vote, but in some smaller municipal elections, but they have to be legal, working, residents of the town. It's not just this free-for-all that I think you would think if you turn on Fox or you tune in to Elon Musk's latest tweet. It's just not feasible that it's this free-for-all of undocumented. It's just fucking a countrywide just voting in elections. It's illegal. You get deported. Who would want to do that if you're hiding here and you don't want? Would you go and risk that? I don't know. I doubt it. Oh, is there an organized telegraph thing where some fucking girl with green hair is sitting in Portland going, send out all the fucking El Salvadorians here and here and here. And here's the voter list of the people who registered, but I know they're not going to show. How would you know they're not going to show up? Then it's inside job. I mean, it's like these are going to be isolated incidents. There's going to be some more here, less here, more here. There's probably some, but not enough. Not enough for it to be, I think, a main motivational driver for Democrats to want illegals here. I think Democrats want illegals here the same way Republicans want illegals here. And that is separated more by class than it is by political party. Democrats got a lot of rich people too, right? In fact, a lot of the richest, not a lot, all the rich neighborhoods in the most important cities, the richest cities, are Democrat. For the most part, they vote Democrat. They got lawns too. They have companies too. They will put pressure on Congress and Democrat to look the other way because they have companies too. Okay? And when your money depends on it, you want the person who you know is going to show up and work for 20 hours for just a little bit less. But it's not just the less money, because some of these immigrants make money. They're fucking good. It's something you hear the truth of in comedy all the time. Oh, I turned my back and the fucking tree was gone. And then you get a couple of Italians just sitting around, or a couple of Polish guys, or some Russian guy, and you're scared out of your mind. He's going to cut your head off. Or the Mexicans just come and just go, what do you want me to do? And you go, this, that, and the other thing. And they just fucking do it. They work around the clock, and it's good work, and it just is what it is. So it's not just cheaper. That's a talking point. It's better. Better. I remember when Tim Cook was asked about that, and he kind of tried to round about it. He was like, he goes, I remember seeing the interview, and privately, he just said some stuff, right? It's like when you hear those tapes of Richard Nixon and Reagan, where privately they just said some stuff about the African continent. But it's people talk different private than they do publicly. Reagan, they were like joking, like, those people just can't govern. It's just a fucking mess over there, And then, when Tim Cook was private, he was like, these fucking American fat fucks, you want me to fucking bring my fucking thing here? I'll get one iPhone made in 6 hours while they're on TikTok, or they're trying to do their rap career or their fucking makeup videos. I can't, because in the interview, I remember he goes, it's just not feasible. He says, I just can't, it's just not possible for us not to have factories in China. And I knew what he was saying by that. He wasn't just saying, oh, the chips get doing that. He was saying, like, the workers sit there like robots. Now, that problem is going out the window soon. That could be a good thing. Everyone thinks it's a negative thing. It could be a very good thing, especially if they figure out a way to dole out some cash. But a big reason is they're better at it. They're willing to work harder. There's a reason why Joe DiMaggio said nobody who was rich ever made it to the big leagues. Show me one guy who grew up rich who plays professional sports. I think Bill Laimbeer is the only guy I can think of. Well, now you got a lot of athletes' kids. But that's a little different, isn't it? Like you grow up and like that's all you see, that's all you know. It's a little different. There's no upper class kid who's like the son, you know. What was his name who unfortunately murdered his parents? Nick Reiner. Nick Reiner was never going to make the bigs. He was either going to go crazy or become a DJ. Right? You're either going to go crazy or become a DJ. You're not going to work hard. You're not going to make the big leagues. There's no rule without an exception, but generally you know what I'm saying is true. If you went around to the NFL, the NBA, every fucking league, I bet you know almost none of them. Almost none of them. The percentage that has anything past middle-class parents is probably 0.06%, if that, right? So what does that tell you? Some people, because of poverty, because of that, because of a lack of comfort, are willing to work harder to attain upward mobility. Survival, our brains are geared for survival. So you're just going to work harder if you're China and you're emerging and you're trying to get some money in your pocket than the guy who just graduated from fucking Emerson with a literature degree. I just graduated from Emory. Dad, I'm going to work at an iPhone factory. It's not going to happen. He's going to drift around, right? And he's going to try to start some sort of marketing company, some sort of app. And his parents have disposable income and they bought their house. So he lives there for a while and they help out a little bit. And he figures out a way to either create some content or to take down somebody who is making content with his content because they said a word he didn't like. And that's what we've been seeing for the last 10 years. It started around 2012 and it's to now, right now. Want to say thank you to Square. On today's episode, we are sponsored and brought to you by Square, your all-in-one business partner making your day-to-day easier, from point-of-sale systems and payments to inventory and customer tools. Square brings everything together in one simple platform so you can stay organized, sell anywhere, and keep things moving. Whether you're running a cafe, salon, boutique, or something entirely your own, Square gives you the flexibility to grow at your own pace and even set up an online store in just a few clicks. I use it. It's great. If you're a small business owner or entrepreneur, this is for you. Even if you're big, this is just great. Thank you, computers, right? So just check it out. Maybe it's the quick and seamless payment process or personalized service that Square's technology enables that you love. There's a lot of things to love about Square. For example, they use Square. Some people use Square to keep things running smoothly. And you always got to appreciate how fast and easy it is to play. Plus, the staff can focus more on providing great service rather than dealing with complicated transactions. Square does that easy for you. Very easy to use, okay? And it's flexible, and it's very comprehensive. The tools are comprehensive. So it's a point-of-sale system. It's not only user-friendly, but also highly intuitive. So right now, listeners can get up to $200 off Square hardware when you sign up at square.com/go/Yannis. That's SQUARE.com/go/Yannis. Visit Square to get started because the right tools make all the difference. So before that, that was the millennials, right? And then now Gen Z is that, but also therapy speak. It's more important that I meditate. And then we were the slacker generation right before, who was going, let me find myself and I want to do what I want to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. And they go, you should get a job. And you go, fuck you, Dad. Fuck you, Dad. Go work at your restaurant. Fuck you. I'm going to do my dream. Like fucking Winona Ryder. I'm going to fucking write, baby. I'm going to write. I'm going to fucking write. And it's kind of, that has you know, paralleled our comfort level going up. You know, everyone can eat. Dollar menu. I mean, it just got nuts. Everyone gets a car. Everyone gets a house. It got to the point where, you know, people were like, yeah, but we're poor in Flint. You're like, you're poor in America. You are poor in America, but you ain't even poor in America like poor was in America in 1867 or even 1906. You ever look at those pictures of those tenements where people were sitting in their own shit? You have a toilet, you have hot water. Most of you got an iPhone. A lot of you got Nikes on. Whatever your priorities are, you got a starter jacket. You got stuff. Some of you even have gold teeth in the 90s. It just changed. Poverty meant something different. You just had a burger. You just had a burger. You go look at those old like Chinatown tenements and Lower East Side where they're just like scooping shit out of their hands. They don't have toilet paper and they're like dying of dysentery. You just went to the hospital, my friend, and the taxpayers paid for it. I know you're poor. Don't get me wrong, but you're poor in America, which is a lot different than being poor in Bangladesh. Not trying to belittle it, but am I making a point? I'll put it to you this way. Your shirt says the right team won the championship. You don't have the losers as the winner. You're not in the Congo. You're not in the Congo wearing a World Series champion Yankees. What was it? 2 years ago? They were in the World Series? You get the winning shirt. You're in the winning shirt country. So it's different. I mean, I don't know if there's any person in America that doesn't have a cell phone. I don't know if there's any person in America that doesn't have hot water. I'm not saying that this is good and that should be all it is. I'm just explaining that comfort plays a role in culture. And culture plays a role in work ethic. And we all are not what our grandparents were. None of us. And like I said, I think the only people who have that Chinese work ethic have deep and severe trauma and are unstable. Because I'm just trying to live a balanced, peaceful life. And boy, isn't that convenient that I can try to do that now. Do you think I would be doing that? You think I'd be laying around doing breathing exercises in 1946? Even if I was a white collar worker. You remember when those people, my dad used to work for 18 hours at the company he created. I mean, and just cigarettes from stress and Tums from his fucking heartburn, where I'm like going to the gym, you know? My dad didn't have time to go to the gym. I'm like at the gym. I'm like, are we working today? No. Okay. One of us can't make it. I guess we're not working. Oh, I got to go fly and sit in a hotel room and work for a couple of hours. So if your country's going to run, you're going to need people who have work ethic. Go look at South Carolina when they tried to get rid of the illegals. They had to fucking change it and bring them back because it just didn't, the reality didn't meet the political rancor. Oh, get them out. They're taking jobs. Okay, they're gone. Now the farmer's hiring. And they went, well, no. And they went, and then you know what they tried to do? They gave it to prisoners. And the prisoners didn't even want to work. I saw an interview with a farmer who was like, they wanted a smoke break and these were prisoners. They should have just been happy to be outside. This is a true story. You can look it up for yourself, South Carolina. So it's an American ethos. We're comfortable. Those are prisoners asking for smoke breaks, by the way. People who don't have their freedom didn't want to like get paid. The job was too hard for them. So they had to do it. So there's a need. So right off the bat, there's a need. And then on top of the need, you have greed. And those are the people at the top who can maybe hire American, but cut corners because they can get away with it for a lower price. But I don't think it's just a lower price. I think it's also efficiency and a better job. because it's both. I think it's both, not one or the other. I think it's both. Because reality doesn't fit neatly into your fucking misplaced emotions that you take out in your political opinions. Because anyone who cares so much is yelling, you're missing something. Something's off with you, bud. So I think it's both. And then you have a problem because people, much like with the COVID lockdowns, they think it was like an American, it was the whole world fucked up, So it's like we're so ethnocentric, we forget that like the whole world locked down too, except for like Sweden or whatever. All of Europe, not the whole world, but most of it decided that was the best way to do it. Some of them did it differently. Closing the schools was wrong, all this shit. But it's better to say it was nefarious than people were just fucked up and they didn't know. I don't know. That's probably more the truth. They fucked up. Yes, there's greed. Yes, they wanted to vax you 100 times. Yes. But mostly I think people just didn't know and they fucked up. I think they went with like, if we should just say it. Just say it so everyone gets it because it's easier. Because if we go, hey, if you're high risk or if you're young, like it's just too complicated. So they just went, it's an emergency, fuck it. They made a decision. That decision is wrong. It's like Pete Carroll saying, let's fucking throw it when you got beast mode. It's wrong. That's mostly what I think happened. But people forget that Europe is also having this issue, not just America. Also Europe. There's COVID created a lot of destabilization. You got dictators everywhere. Venezuela, 9 million immigrants coming to the United States. The biggest group of any country. That was a wealthy country. So they're fleeing Venezuela because of this guy. And 9 million of them are fucking coming up here, all seeking asylum. There's a backlog for asylum. You get into the country a couple of ways. You get your work visa, you get your green card, or you do asylum. And you can do asylum from in the country, which is fucked up. I think that's the one where you go, maybe we should change that. Because what that means is you can sneak in and then apply for asylum and then just hang out. And if everyone's doing that, then you just got a bunch of people. And if you tell your boys, like, yo, that's all you got to do. But ultimately, people come here, the majority of them, because they want a better life. But you need a border. And you can't just let people in like every other country unless you're willing to do away with the idea of a nation state, which no country seems to be willing to do yet because that would be way too complicated. Too many cultures, too many work ethic levels. It's the thing nobody wants to admit. If we just opened everything up, why won't everyone just open everything up? What's the reason? People are different. You gotta keep some sort of balance and order. Or else it tips. But we need it, and Europe needs it. So I think what's the untold story here is like the people at the top know we need it. Why do we need it? First of all, because nobody's fucking. Women are fucking not having children. So our population is below replacement level. And also we don't want to fucking work. So we need fucking immigrants to do the jobs. That's a big part of it. It's a big part of it. Because here's the argument, right? Everyone goes, the fucking jobs are overseas. So you're going, so then why the fuck are they coming here if there's no jobs? You ever think of that one? I'm going to get fucked for this. But answer me this question. If there's no jobs, why are there so many illegal immigrants working at jobs? There's jobs. It's just nobody wants to do them because it's below their dignity or whatever. Or whatever the reason is, it's maybe too low paying for them. And I'm not saying that's not a good reason. I'm not indicting anyone here. I'm just explaining. Yes, the factories went over there and that's fucked up. But if the factories were here, I have a very strong suspicion they'd be filled with immigrants. Just like they were when they were here before. And they brought over immigrants to work in them. I have a very strong suspicion that a lot of those last names would be clocking in under jugadores. I have a suspicion, at least half, would be either work visas or illegals, depending on how scrupulous and patriotic your CEO is. And what I find is most CEOs are not very patriotic. They're not as much into the idea of a nation state as they are into another vacation in Hawaii. So, I mean, that's just something that you never hear from the right. I think it's something you don't really hear from anyone, the left included, because they always just, they yell about the World Economic Forum, they yell about NAFTA, they yell about that shit, and you're going, so that's what you're doing with your day? That's the other thing. Like, so that's your job? So is that your job? What are you doing? Why are you here? It's 2 p.m. in Washington. What are you doing? Well, I own a bookstore. I think that's a part of it. The other part is, yes, policy, jobs overseas, corporate greed, whatever. As long as it's not our work ethic, as long as it doesn't indict us, I'm for it. I'm not saying I'm not for what you're saying, because I am. I'd rather believe it was just greed and politicians and that's it. That's all. I mean, it's just cleaner that way. It's just cleaner that way. I just wonder, I just wonder if all these jobs come back, how many kids after they graduate from Emory are going to line up for them? Because there's going to be a lot of car manufacturers. If let's say AI is not in the picture, just hypothetically, there's going to be a lot of those jobs. I just wonder how fast those slots are going to be filled. I wonder how many busboys, housekeepers at hotels. I'm just going with the economy now we got like 1 year left before there's just a robot bitch. Now guys are going to be naked and hope that the robot bitch jerks them off. They're going to leave the door unlocked and just stay naked. Like, no, come on, clean the room. She's going to go, okay, I'll clean the room. Like, yeah, there's a spot right here. Okay, let me clean it. Okay, and you just move it. The robot maid. So immigration is an interesting thing. And most of us who are yelling about it are the sons or grandsons of immigrants. So, I mean, they wouldn't be coming here if there was an opportunity or if their areas weren't so fucked up. Now, again, that's not our problem. But then again, a lot of our parents came that same way. So it's a little hypocritical, right, for me to go like, hey, it's like my parents fled a fucked up situation. So I don't know, but it's because it seems they all want to come here, but it's not true. See, that's my American ethnicity. They want to go to Germany. They want to go to France, and they do. They want to go to England, and they do. And then you get all sorts of problems. Hey, we're Christian. And they go, hey, we put a loudspeaker on, we hit the rug. And you're going, whoa. Now, is this going to work? I don't know. I don't know. But you can't have the whole world fucked up and everyone just trying to get to like New York. Like America's like the New York. And then the people who come to New York complain that it's so expensive. It's like, yeah, that's a big part of the reason why. You know what would alleviate the cost of rent? I'm not talking about cost of food and all that shit, because that's obviously a different issue. But definitely the rent is if people just decided Cleveland was the hot shit. Then the prices would fucking come down. Do you remember right after COVID what the prices were? There was nobody complaining about rent then for office space, at least. So the environment creates a lot of what we mistake as like moral right and wrongs. It's the environment, right? You're like, oh, the prices are too high. It's like, yeah, that's not in a vacuum, man. The prices are too high here, not in St. Louis. Yeah, food nationwide, I get it. But if you're talking about rent and home ownership, go to St. Louis and buy St. Louis. You can. You can get 4 houses. When I was in Detroit, I was like, should I just buy Detroit? It's different. And I know these are jokes. I know all the jobs are here and everyone recruits from here. I understand. But that's got to change, I think, a little bit. You got to make the rest of the world better somehow. And if that takes the discombobulator to go out and get those, maybe that's what it is. Maybe if you're going, hey, We've had enough of everyone coming to New York. Let's make Tehran hot. Maybe we got to discombobulate. We got to go to Israel and discombobulate. Maybe we go to Russia, discombobulate. Maybe we discombobulate the whole and just fucking pluck them all out and turn the whole fucking thing into one big capitalist America and spread it out. Remote work now, so you don't got to go to the office in New York. Everything will be remote, or robots are going to come. I think the future is going to be good. I have no confidence in that statement, but I'm going to say it anyway. But ICE is doing this job of, trying to get these people out. It's something that happened during Obama. What's happened is not that the job has changed, it's the tone has changed. It doesn't seem like there's a priority on like criminals as much as there was under Obama. But then again, Obama deported like 3 million. So that's not 3 million criminals. He just talked differently, right? Also, he was a liberal, so the media wasn't out to get him. But there was still protests under Obama. Biden, they were telling him to fucking, and also, Democratic houses for Biden, right? So Biden's trying to do some immigration stuff. Then he's got fucking AOC going, fucking nobody's illegal. So he didn't have just like Republicans going like, okay, thank God you're meeting us halfway. Yeah. He didn't have Republicans going, kill them all. And he goes, no, we're just going to deport them. And they go, okay. He had her going, we got to deport the illegals. And she going, nobody's illegal. So his hands were a little tied too by his own party. So he got hammered on this issue. Towards the end, they started to realize this is really hurting us. So they tried to fucking deport as many as they could. But too many were coming in, And everyone thinks, they were just coming in to vote. Now, the one thing they do, the one way it would benefit. Now, again, I want to remind you, what I said was, the right, like the Koch brothers or whatever, like the way Bernie says the Koch brothers love that. Bernie did a whole interview where he said, open borders, that's what the Koch brothers want. What he was saying is like rich Republicans want the cheap labor. Now, again, what I'm saying is I don't think it's a right-left issue. I think it's a rich issue. I think it's a class issue. The people who are the richest want some sort of open border because they go, give me the labor and then you deal with the fucking ICE fallout. I will be in Palm Beach, where there are no illegals, and if they're there, they're well paid to work at Mar-a-Lago or whatever other 5 fucking star resort or personal home I am at. It's far away. I'm well protected by well-paid cops and private security. So you fucking deal with the fallout. So it's a rich thing on the left and right. But politically, from the body politic standpoint, I think the right is going, they just want illegals voting. I don't think that's what it is. But to benefit the party where it can it's more realistic, I think, to assume that it affects the census in certain areas where they live that could vote more Democratic. So if you do a census and you count immigrants who tend to, when they get naturalized, vote liberal because they got all the benefits from fucking that, and then they vote liberal because they, that's just how they're programmed until a couple of years. And then after you notice, the Hispanics have gone 46% conservative. So they only get them, I think, for 10 years. Once everyone gets rich, they go to the middle at least. Nobody gets rich and stays a bleeding heart, right? I bet you I would put all my fucking money that Mark Ruffalo votes Republican. I would put all my money that Ben Affleck hits the fucking right side of the button. I would put all my money. Why wouldn't you? You can win both ways. You can vote for your financial interest one way, and then publicly, you can act. Guess who's good at acting? Why wouldn't you? A moral compass? I haven't met too many of those on that coast. A moral compass, is that the personality of the people who will do anything to get a role? Were they social workers before this? Would it surprise you? Would it surprise you if one of those, whenever there's an extreme one way, I'm always wondering, what are you covering up? right? When someone's too clean, you're like, why do you want other people to think you're so clean? What's in your mind? It's always bad. It's always bad. When someone's always like, don't fucking curse, Don. I keep it clean. It's like, what are your thoughts, though? What do you do, though, when nobody's looking? If you're always putting a pin on for every hot cause, I want to know how you really vote, Mark Ruffalo, because nobody's there to see it. We would never know. We would never fucking know. We would never know if Olivia Rodrigo went in there and her parents just said, hey, listen, do the right thing for the family. I got a business. She would never admit it because she knows her fans are young. You see what I'm saying? She could never say it. But why not do for her family? If that's the case for the family, he's a small business owner or whatever the fuck it is, her parents, I don't know. I'm just putting a hypothetical. And then why not just say, Dad, when you hear me out in public, I'm just doing what I got to do. Right? Do you think that's happened? I think so. I think so. I think sometimes people forget what the job description of an actor is. And I think they're unfamiliar with the personality type who gets into that line of work. Not the most scrupulous or balanced people I've ever met who want fucking fame. Including myself. I didn't start doing this because people said you're so chill. You never want attention. I wasn't the friend who was like, you know what? It's your time to shine. It was, I'm going to put my balls between my legs and everyone's going to look at me. So the tone has changed for ICE. And now this has happened. It's a bad stew, right? You go to Minneapolis, you know there's going to be organized resistance there. You know it's going to be a mix of fervor from them and fervor from ICE, who's just emboldened by the rhetoric of Trump, who's like made it his identity, whereas Obama was like, oh, that's just one thing happening over there. It's happening over there. We can't have illegals. But also I want to focus on Obamacare. Trump's going, get them out of America first. Kick them out. Fuck you. You know, it's some of that. Because people died in custody under Obama, you know, everyone deported, and everyone has given speeches about how illegals can't be in here, but nobody's really been able to do anything about it. And Trump just came in and got elected on, I'm going to do something about it. It's almost inevitable you knew something nasty was going to happen like this, right? And those two people should not have been killed, but you got these people who are covering their faces because this is such a controversial job. I imagine this was much like the prohibition squads. Remember the prohibition squads, the raids? Those, you know, they had to go around and enforce that. I bet you those guys weren't so fucking popular. It's kind of similar probably to them, right? They have to go break up a party and steal your alcohol or break up your bar, fuck your business up. Those guys probably had to wear masks or do some shit like that. People were not happy about that either. You know, if you're ripping people out of homes, off school buses, out of supermarkets, you know, people, members of your community, people who've been working here, yeah, they're undocumented. It's gonna be, and they go, and your people are callous and they're going, the law's the law. You're gonna fucking, because these people were going, the law's the law. And you're going, yeah, but this is not humanitarian. This is immoral. And they're going, it's the law's the law. It's gonna be a clash. Just like I'm sure there was a clash with the prohibition. What did they call those? There was police forces of prohibition squads. They were called something, and then we'll get out of here. This was going to be about ICE, but it was more about immigration, right? Bureau of Prohibition was tasked with enforcing the Volstead Act. So that's was units that would go out and do that. Agents dubbed dry agents or prohibs were responsible for investigating, detecting, and punishing alcohol-related crimes, including raiding speakeasies. So it's very similar in a way. Well, it's not immigration, but it's like a force that was like, hey, we have this new act and this is a new law, and federal agencies such as U.S. Marshals Service, the Coast Guard to stop smuggling, Customs also. Very similar to this because Customs does assist with ICE. You have Border Patrol and they kind of work in concert with each other, ICE and Border Patrol. So it's very similar. And I'm sure there was a lot of people who were I'm sure there was bad shit that happened because there's moral and then there's law and then, and I'm sure this is very traumatizing to some of these people who fled these countries with dictators in unmarked vans. Just imagine you flee someplace, you get a job here, you're undocumented or whatever. You flee Venezuela or you flee fucking any of these countries where these rulers just roll around and guys jump out of unmarked vans and grab you. And they're like, fuck, it's happening here too. So, but we do have laws for a reason. I don't know. It's a multi-pronged problem. It's not just, it's something that it's not as simple as you think it is. You're going to leave a comment, whatever you're going to fucking say. The situation won't change that they're here because they're needed, a lot of them. And of course, that has opened the door to more than we need, like anything. Humans just go too far. Some guy comes here under Biden. The reason why Biden exploded because they were like, the restrictions are down. I'm sorry. I didn't have to do that voice, but most probably that's how it sounded if I could speak Spanish. Things are different now. Trump is gone. He's a little more lax, bro. Fuck. Maybe I don't know. I'm joking. But it was, and then people just started coming. And then South America was a mess. So they were fleeing and they want, a better life. But they hear from people here who are like, yo, and a lot of times they get them a job and they bring in and they work for them. And as long as the labor is needed, you'll have them. That's one side of it. As long as people don't have kids, we're going to need to import immigrants to keep our populations up. It's the same problem in Japan. It's the same problem in most of the countries in Europe. And the reason is comfort. Simply, that's all it is. People don't want to have kids because their lives are fucking lit. And when you have a kid, your life isn't over, but it comes second. And nobody's willing to do that right now. It's as simple as that. That's just a truth. And that's why you see it across the board in the West. Because we won the game first, but now you're starting to see it in China. So it's not a coincidence. You saw how they're like, now they're removing the one child policy because nobody wants to. They just got all this shit. And they're like, I got Uniqlo on, dog. I'm watching fucking movies. I'm in no rush. People want to enjoy it a little bit. A little personal rum springer that's lasted a little too long. So this is a bad stew. And we're going to see. We're right in the middle of it. I wonder what's going to happen. I bet you Trump, this is prophetic. I bet you he backs off it a little bit because there's too much. That's a good thing about a democratic country. And if we still are that, I hope so. Is that the opinions of the people, which is easy to discern now, especially with online behavior, is like even people on the right are going like, they're not denying reality. You got your hardcore bots and your hardcore fanatics going whatever, but they're going like, hey, yeah, the guy shouldn't have been there. Yeah, he fucking shouldn't be. But dude, I mean, as far as killing him, plugging 10 into him, it just looked like second degree murder. It's like, yeah, I understand these guys are traumatized because people are fucking staying outside their hotel and that. But just like the prohibition, I mean, that's part of the job description. No, nobody likes that shit. It's like being a meter maid. You're gonna get called a packy. They tell you that in training. They go, someone's going to call you a slur at some point. When's the last time you got a ticket from someone and said, thank you, officer. Thank you for doing your job. When's the last time you thanked a meter maid, you hypocrites out there, for doing his job when you got a ticket? Can anyone put themselves in anyone else's shoes and admit a little hypocrisy? When did that bunch who was tasked with that job, they are just doing their job, right? So if I was here because my mother fled from, I don't know, Pinochet or whatever the fuck, I'm just thinking of someone, and we were here, but we were working and like trying to work towards our asylum, like there's a back, because those people are getting ousted. It's different. It's a little different under Obama. He probably ousted a lot of them too, but I mean, we didn't know about it. So like what you don't know about won't hurt you. But when you're seeing these videos, and plus there wasn't social media like the way that it is, so he probably did the same thing. But, that's neither here or there. There's fucking cameras everywhere. When you see a woman get dragged on the street, it's just people have a reaction to it. And if my mother was waiting to apply for her refugee status and there was a backlog of that, and we were here working and not disturbing anyone, but we weren't exactly on the books, but we were good people, and some guys in masks who don't give a fuck, who are just like listening to Megadeth on their headphones and just being like, I'm doing my job. They're there for the benefits and the good work, or maybe their ideology a little bit. It would cause a little friction if I saw my mother get dragged like that. So there's no clean answer here. The only clean answer here, baby, is go to patreon.com/Yannis Pappas Hour for more, because that is still up and running, and this show needs your support. So that's the only clean issue, is send your money to me. So much easier if you say God. So much fucking easier to sell fucking God than a dumb, not even really a comedy show. What is this? Is there enough comedy in here? Of course, I know you're going to try to own. I'm not reading any of them anymore. Nobody reads comments anymore, so have at it. I mean, I want you to because the algorithm, but I'm sure it's going to go, not for me. And they think they're clever. Not for me. Not what? Comedy. All right, you got me. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you like it, you like it. The good news, it's not big enough for you to get any props on hating it. And that's really what hate's about nowadays. So I don't know. That's my take on it. It's one big mess. I love everyone. It's very sad about those deaths. It's bad. Immigration's a complicated issue, and I've offered you no solutions. And also, I'd like to say, ICE does have it. They're part of a system. They're just people. It's like when they killed that CEO. It's like, that's not going to change the system. Like, I know you think enough of it will. Maybe you're right. I don't know. But like, these people are just doing it for money. They're doing it. Most of them are doing it for good pay and benefits, and they've been told by their superiors to do this job. So it's a whole fucking system, right? It's a whole systematic problem. So we have to abolish ICE, which nobody's going to do. Biden didn't even do that, because then what are you going to do? We're not going to abolish the police, because then what are you going to do? So what's the slogan about? We need to enforce our immigration. So what are you going to do? We're going to hire social workers? I mean, who's going to do it? Maybe both. You know what we should do? It should be a social worker, and that would be a good team, right? Like C-3PO and what was the other one?
R2-D2.
R2-D2 or Chewbacca and Han Solo. You need one enforcer and one kind of social worker. What if it was what if they were the team? And they went there, and one was like, did you think about his feelings? And the other one's like, fuck his feelings, shoot him in the head. No, we have to find a compromise. You can shoot him in the arm, and that's the compromise. And then I will take him to the hospital. That's my solution. What's up, everybody? I want to give a shout out to forthefree.art as usual. Go take a peek at that website. Check out the music in Hawaii, the bands, the local shows. If you're going to Hawaii or you just like music, check it out. Also want to give a shout out to our boy Nate Linder. Been supporting the show for a long time, so I'd like to give him a shout out on his podcast, his popular, award-winning podcast, Entrepreneurship Unlocked with Nate Linder. He interviews entrepreneurs from all over the world, CEOs, tech, international touring artists, whatever, independent doctors, you name it. Kid's got a podcast. Also, IndigoLabsAgency.com is really what he's about. He will market for you, for all your marketing needs. Go check it out, And then rebels-raiders.com. All his gear using NIR-resistant near-infrared solution dyed material, which cuts your signature under night vision. As far as he knows, he's the only company publicly posting test data on this. What do we got? We got plate carrier, rapid response medical bag, 2-point rifle sling. So when China invades, be ready. Reinforced stitching and lifetime warranty all come standard. Hit rebels-raiders.com and grab your kit before Armageddon. PCB Tech Art, very simple. They got very cool wireless chargers for your car. You can get them on Amazon or you can get them at PCBTechArt.com. Put in the code Yannis15 for 15% off on their website and fix your wireless charging issues today.